America, 1991. Milwaukee police enter a small apartment. What they find inside is not just a murder, but a nightmare that defied human comprehension. Jeffrey Dahmer, quiet, withdrawn, and seemingly ordinary, but he was responsible for some of the darkest crimes in American history. His story reveals how evil can sometimes wear the most ordinary face. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in 1960. As a child, he was silent, introverted, and socially isolated. His fascination with dissecting animals and examining their organs was dismissed by his family as a strange but harmless curiosity. But that curiosity would later evolve into something unimaginably dark. In his teenage years, he began struggling with alcohol. After high school, his relationship with his family deteriorated, and his loneliness deepened. In 1978, Dahmer committed his first murder. He invited a hitchhiker to his home. An argument broke out, and with that young man's death, Dahmer's dark path began. By the late 1980s, he had moved into a small apartment in the heart of Milwaukee. But that apartment resembled a slaughterhouse more than a home. When police finally entered, they found human limbs in the cupboards, severed heads in the freezer, and bones dissolving in acid. Jeffrey Dahmer lured most of his victims to his apartment, drugged them with alcohol, and then began his horrific acts. His crimes went far beyond murder. Accusations of necrophilia and cannibalism made global headlines, but perhaps the most shocking detail was how calm he seemed throughout it all. He showed no trace of remorse. Neighbors complained about the terrible odors coming from his apartment. Some thought it was spoiled meat. Others assumed he was keeping exotic animals. But no one realized the horror that was happening inside, until one victim managed to escape and call the police. When officers entered his apartment, Dahmer confessed everything with chilling calmness. 17 murders in total, most of them young men, carefully chosen. Psychologists described his behavior as an obsession with absolute control. Even after killing his victims, he wanted to keep them close. In 1992, Dahmer was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, but he would not live long in prison. In 1994, he was beaten to death by another inmate. For many, his death meant that justice had finally been served. But one haunting question remains: how can someone who appears so quiet and ordinary hide such unimaginable darkness within? Jeffrey Dahmer was not just a killer, he became a symbol of the darkest depths of human nature, and perhaps the most terrifying thought of all is this: sometimes, people like him might be living right next door.